Good morning, students. Welcome back to my class. Welcome, everyone. Hope you are well and good at home. We are on chapter number 11. And what's the name of the chapter? It's a poem. Class discussion. It's a poem. Class discussion. It's a poem. I am repeating the poem today. Class discussion. It's a poem and it's written by. It's written by who is the poet of the poem? Jervis Finn. Jervis Finn is the poet of the poem. I hope you understand. Today we are going to discuss about chapter number 11, 11 class discussion. It is a poem. Class discussion is a poem and it is written by Jervis Finn. Means the poet of the poem class discussion is Jervis Finn. As I have promised you that I am going to repeat the chapter, so I am doing the same thing. I have promised you yesterday that I'll be repeating the chapter. So students, look at the let us read the poem first. Let us read the poem. In the class discussion, Jan, in the class discussion, Jan, you hardly said a word. We all heard our opinions, but from you we barely heard. You sat and stared in silence, surrounded by the chatter. Now tell me, Jen, and please be plain. Is there anything the matter? Jan looked up and then she spoke. Her voice was clear and low. There are many people in this world who are rather quite you know. Let me repeat the poem. See, while reading any poem or story, see the full stop, comma properly. You have to stop if it is a full stop. If it is a comma, then you have to stop a little bit. Okay, once again. In the class discussion, in the here the it's a message or the all these words are from a teacher who is in the class like me. In the class discussion, Jen means I am a teacher and I am discussing to Jen. I am discussing with Jen. In the class discussion, Jen, you hardly said a word. You never speak even a single word. In class discussion, here the teacher is saying to Jen that Jen, you hardly speak in the class. You never speak in the class. You never say a word. You never speak any word. We speak our opinions in the class. We inform everything in the class. We tell the teacher our opinions in the class, or the students tell their opinions in the class. They public their opinions in the class. But from you, we barely heard. From you, we sometimes you respond, or else you are mute in the class. You never speak in the class. You sit and stare in silence, surrounded by the chatter. You sit in the class, then you are in the class, sitting in the class, and you are being surrounded by the talkative students. All are means not talkative. The students, those who are participating in the class, in the discussion, in class discussion. Then you are sitting in the class, and all the students, those who are surrounded, those who have surrounded you, they are looking at you. They are looking at you means they are discussing, and you are simply sitting in the class, and you are being surrounded by the chatter. Means all are chatting, but you are sitting in silence. You never speak any word. Now tell me, Jane, and please be plain. Now tell me, Jane, what is the matter? Now tell me, Jane. The teacher is saying, now, Jane, tell me, and please be plain. Means and tell me clearly. It should be clear. You should tell me clearly what is the matter. Is there anything the matter? Here, the teacher is asking to Jane, Jane, do you have any problem? Or what is the matter? Why you are not speaking in the class, or why you are not discussing in the class? You never share your opinions in the class. You never discuss with the other students, or you never participate in class discussion. What is the matter? Why all these things are happening? Do you have any problem? Who is saying this? These words are being said by whom? By by the by teacher to Jane. Okay. Now Jane looked up. Jane, what she say, what she's doing? She looked up. She looked to her teacher, and then she spoke. And then she said to her teacher. Her voice was very what? Clear and low. It's not a matter that Jane was stammering. Means वो हकलाती नहीं थी. वो बोल सकती थी. Her voice was clear and low. Her voice was clear and low. Jane looked up and said, and then she spoke in a clear and low voice. And what she said? So there are many peoples in this world, and there are all types of people. There are all types of people in this world. But there are some people who are rather quiet by nature. They don't want to speak much. They prefer listening instead of discussing, instead of talking, or instead of participating in discussion. They rather uh, feel pleasant in what? Listening to others. Once again, students, look here. It will be. I'm not going to repeat from today. It will be the final explanation of the poem. It is a poem. Listen carefully. Class discussion. It's a poem written by Jervis Finn. Jervis Finn. It's as I have written on the board. The poem is about a little girl whose name is Jane. Whose name is Jane. And all these incidents are happening in a class. All these things. This poem is related to a class. Class 5th, chapter number 11, class discussion. It is a poem written by Jervis Finn, and it is a poem about a girl who is sitting in the class. All the incidents that are happening, it is happening in the class. That happened, it is happening in the class. Here in this, during the discussion, every student and teacher, they were busy in conversation. They were talking to each other on a particular topic. They were discussing on a topic. Suddenly, the teacher saw a child sitting in the class. Her name was Jane. She was a girl and her name was Jane. She was mute, means she was not speaking at all. She was sitting quietly in the class. The teacher saw the child, and the teacher started asking Jen that Jen, in class discussion, you never shared anything. You never aired your opinions. You never publish your opinions, or you never uh, tell your opinions in the class. Every student, while we are discussing in the class, like today we are discussing in the class, every student, they used to participate in discussion, in class discussion. But Jen, you never speak in the class. Hardly we heard anything from you. बड़ी मुश्किल से जेन तुमसे कुछ सुनने को मिलता है. You never speak in the class. You sit in the class surrounded by the chatter. Surrounded by the chatter means if you are sitting in such a situation or in such a place that everyone is speaking and alone you are not speaking. Everyone is shouting and discussing on a topic, and they are participating in the class discussion or in the conversation. But Jen, we hardly hear anything from you. And you are surrounded by all these types of students. And if you don't speak, if you are not speaking, means you might be having some problem, the teacher is saying. Okay. Now the teacher said, Jen, don't worry. Don't be scared of anything. Don't be afraid of anything. And please tell me clearly, is there anything the matter? Is there anything the matter? कोई बात है Jen, तो डरो मत. I'm a teacher, and you tell me, I'm going to clarify each and everything. Or if there is a problem, then I'm going to solve. Then what happened? Jen looked up to her teacher. Yes, she looked up and then she spoke. She spoke. Her voice was very clear. Means the poet wants to say that Jane was a girl who can speak properly and clearly. She was not stammering. Stammering का मतलब होता है हकलाना. बहुत सारे बच्चे क्लास में शांत रहते हैं क्योंकि वो हकलाते हैं, तुलतुलाते हैं, मीन्स स्टैमर करते हैं, स्टैमरिंग. ठीक है, जो बच्चे स्टैमर करते हैं वो क्लास में बहुत कम बोलते हैं. Her voice was very clear. Here, the poet Jarvis Payne is saying that it is not such type of matter that the Jan is not able to speak. Her voice was very clear and low. Yes, Jen looked up and she spoke. She said something to the teacher. Her voice was very clear. If there is a question, was Jen? Jen was not participating in the class discussion as he was stammering. Right or wrong? Wrong. It's wrong. Jane was not stammering. Her voice was very clear and she spoke in a low tone. And she said, what Jane said? Jane said that there are all types of people in this world, means many types of people in this world. Yes, there are many types of people in this world. And there are some people who rather wants to be quiet or they are quiet by nature. They are happy listening to others. They are happy listening to others. They are happy listening to others and they don't want to discuss much. They prefer to listen to others. They don't want to talk much. This was the answers given by Jen to the teacher. Means she was quiet by nature. Jane was quiet by nature. It is not that she was a lazy girl or she was stammering while she spoke or she. It's not a matter that it's not a situation that she was ashamed in the class. She was very brilliant girl and she can speak in the class. She has the idea what to express in the class. Okay. So here she says it. They do not prefer to. There are some people who do not prefer to talk much. Who do not prefer to talk much. As they are quiet by nature. As they are quiet by nature. Fine, students. Now I am repeating the poem. Let me read the poem, recite the poem again. In the class discussion, Jane, you hardly said a word. We all heard our opinions. But from your, we barely heard. You sat and stared in silence surrounded by the chatter. Now tell me, Jane, and please be plain. Is there anything the matter? Jane looked up and then she spoke. Her voice was clear and low. There are many people in this world who are rather quiet, you know. And it's a poem written by Jarvis Payne. Students, uh, it's over. Now let us come to the word meaning. Let us come to the word meaning, students. Everybody look at the board. What do you mean? Let us see some word meaning in the class. Okay. Now, what do you mean by discussion? As I have mentioned yesterday, discussion, number one. Look here. There are some hard words in the poem. We will discuss about that. Let us see. What do you mean by discussion? Discussion means talking. Talking together. Talking together in a group. In in a group on a single topic. On a single topic. Yes, talking together in a class on a single topic. Whenever we discuss in a class, there is only one topic. एक मुद्दा होता है क्लास में और उस मुद्दे पर अगर हम बात करते हैं, that is called discussion. Yes. Now let us see the second one. Aired. means to public, to public, or to share, or to share. What? To public, to tell everyone, to tell everyone, or to tell everyone, to tell everyone means to public. Same meaning. To public means what? To tell everyone. Public करना यानी सबको बताना. To tell everyone. Now let us see the third one. Barely means hardly. मुश्किल से. Hardly. Barely means hardly. Now let us see the number 4. The hard word stare. Stare means to look fixedly. Ghurna, to look fixedly. Now look at number 5, students. Plain. Plain means clear. Clear or clearly. Clear or clearly. Number 6. Look at number 6. There are some we are discussing about some hard words. Those are mentioned in the poem. Now look at next, that is opinion. That's the opinion. Opinion, what do you mean by opinion? Opinion means thoughts, विचार. अपने अपने विचारों को, opinions को क्लास में रखना. Now let us see the next one. Number 7, silence. To be quiet. To be quiet. Look at number 8, surrounded. Surrounded. I am writing here surrounded. Enclosed from all sides. Enclosed from all sides. चारों तरफ से घिरा हुआ. Fine. Now look next, number 9. Chatter. Chatter means to talk. Every chatter. What do you mean by chatter? Chatter means to talk. And see the next, number 10. Where shall I write? Okay, I'm writing here. Number 10. It's hardly. Hardly means what? With difficulty. With difficulty. Students, these are the hard words or the new words which are mentioned in the poem. Now let us see, what do you mean by discussion? Discussion means to talking together in a group. In a group, we are sitting in a group and we are talking on a single topic. That is called discussion. Aired. Aired means to public, to share, to tell everyone. सबको बताना. Yes. Next. Barely. Barely means hardly. मुश्किल से. Hardly. Stare. Stare means to look fixedly. To look someone. To look someone. किसी को ध्यान से देखना, घूरना. Next, plain. Plain means clear or clearly. Jane, please be plain means tell everything clearly. Fine. Next, opinion. What do you mean by opinion? Opinion means thought, vichar. Look at the 7th word meaning. It's silence. I hope you know. Keep silence in the class. Silence means to be quiet, not to make noise. Number 8, surrounded. Enclosed from all sides. चारों तरफ से घिरा हुआ. Enclosed from all sides. Packed from all sides. Look at number 9. What do you mean by chatter? Chatter means to talk. Chatter means to talk. बात करना. And number 10, hardly means same thing. Here we have written here. Barely, hardly, difficultly, or with difficulty. Students, look at the word meaning, the hard words for 2 minutes. Yes, students, I hope you have gone through this word meaning, the hard words which are mentioned in this small poems. It's a poem of 8 lines only or 9 lines, but there are only how many? 10 word meanings. I hope you can, you are able to understand. I hope आप याद कर सकते हो इसको. Yes, discussion क्या होता है? Discussion means बात करना किसी particular topic पे. Fine, ना? I hope you can understand, or I hope you are able to understand. Now, there are some questions related to the poem. What activity was going on in the class? Class में कौन सी activity चल रही थी? Class discussion. The answer is your name of the poem. Class discussion was going on in the class. The activity which was going on in the class was class discussion, or discussion was going on in the class. Yes. Who was quiet one in the class? Who was quiet in the class? The person who was very quiet in the class. Who was not speaking in the class? Jane. Jane, the girl, the little girl, Jane was quiet in the class. Why was she quiet? Yes. Why was she quiet? I'm giving you three options now. Turn on your video, students. I'm giving you three options. Now you have to tell me the answer. First, second, or third. कौन सा answer सही है? You are going to tell me. Why was Jane quiet in the class? The first option. She was afraid to hear her opinions. She was afraid. This is the first option. She was afraid to hear her opinions. Second, she hated the noise. She don't want to listen to noise. She hated the noise. Third one, she did not like the activity. She didn't like the activity. And the number four is she was quiet by nature. First, second, third, fourth. Which one will be the right answer? Show me your finger and tell me. The fourth one is the right answer. Jane was quiet by nature. She was not afraid. She was quiet. Jane was quiet in the class because she is quiet by nature. She is quiet by nature. Okay, fourth one is the right answer. Thank you. How do you interact in class discussion, or during a class discussion, do you participate or remain quiet? Now this question is to the students who is studying this poem. ये last question उन बच्चों के लिए है जो ये poem पढ़ रहे हैं. Means this question is for you. How do you interact in the class while during class discussion? Do you participate or do you remain quiet? क्या आप क्लास में कोई डिस्कशन चलता है तो आप शांत रहते हैं या आप उसमें शामिल होते हैं? Yes, do you participate or remain quiet? अगर आप participate करते हैं, then show me your thumb upside. And if you are not participating, you sit in the class, show me your thumb downwards. Do you participate in class discussion? Yes, very good. Thank you very much. Yes. Okay, class. Now, if you have any doubt, you can ask me.